But let's talk a little bit about some teas. I know that
Tea
people were
time.
wondering about all these different teas and the benefits. What's some that you've been
Well, I personally,
having?
I drink a pretty consistent regimen of tea. If I'm sick, I'll drink Echinacea tea. So that tea is
Mm-hmm.
really good for clearing the lungs out and being able to provide your body with some good old antioxidants and some antiviral benefits. So I'll focus on my Echinacea tea when I'm sick. I'll try and, which is rare,
Mm-hmm.
but or if I just don't feel right, if I just feel like something's going on in my throat or my chest, I'll take some Echinacea tea. And then that one is not really consistent. The one that I consume the most, I would say, is yerba mate. I've been starting to take yerba mate, drinking it out of a gourd with a bambila. It's a bambila. It's like a straw that they use for the yerba mate. And I like yerba mate for a couple of reasons. My biggest enjoyment of it is just the taste. It just tastes very pure. It tastes minty. It has a very nice aroma to it. I just
Mm-hmm.
enjoy being able to consume that, drinking out of the bombilla, feeling very traditional. You kind of keep on adding water and it steeps and then you drink it out. And it's very, traditionally consumed, especially in South America. So I enjoy taking that for a couple of reasons. I usually try to take it on days I exercise, and it does help boost your exercise capability and your fat loss benefits. And I know a lot of that's due to the caffeine, and the caffeine's tried and true one of the best pre-workouts you can ever have. There's also a couple other benefits of the yerba mate that I personally find to be super specific to yerba mate. One is theobromine, which helps you bring blood flow to your brain, so it helps you focus and it helps you have more of a ability to stimulate yourself mentally and physically. So the stimulation isn't just in your body. You don't just get jitters like you would with coffee. You feel more clear and more clarity so that you can act in more of a productive mode versus an attack mode, which I feel like when I drink coffee, I'm in more like, okay, let's go, 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 ba, 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 da, 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 and I'm
Yep.
always just like freaking out, and it kind of makes my anxiety up a little bit. This is usually pretty low with that effect. It has a couple other benefits as well, but one of the biggest ones for me is theobromine, blood flow to the brain, and of course, it has other things that most caffeinated teas would have, like polyphenols, which is a group of antioxidants, and saponins, which helps with anti-inflammation and helps with balancing your cholesterol and regulating cholesterol. And there's some
Mm-hmm.
other things that I find to be a little bit more um, interesting compared to just drinking coffee every day, which everyone, almost everyone, really does. Besides myself or you, because you have your alternatives.
Yeah.
But the thing about yerba too is that it's less caffeine. So a cup
Mm-hmm.
of yerba would be like 85 milligrams of caffeine versus a cup of coffee, which is about like 150, 140, 150, depending on the brew of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of benefits in the caffeine that you get without the side effects you would get from coffee. So that's a big part that I like to enjoy is this level of alertness and this level of physical capability without the jittery anxiety side effects. And
Yeah.
then when it comes to other teas, for calming wise, I try to consume chamomile. I like to consume chamomile tea if I'm not able to fall asleep. Valeria root and those kind of soothing herbs. They're very beneficial for just relaxing the body. No caffeine. Very good at just bringing you down and calming yourself. And then when it comes to another thing that I consume that's more caffeinated, which would be matcha. Matcha has L-theanine in it, which helps balance out a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the like a lot of these energy drinks will put L-theanine in there to try and balance out their caffeine levels because L-theanine has been shown to help regulate the stimulatory effects of caffeine with the more clarity and the more grounding effects of the L-theanine. So it's kind of like a nootropic almost, where when you take coffee straight up, you're basically just getting this big pump and this big rush of all this caffeination, which helps because your adenosine receptors can you know go through that whole process where you don't feel tired or you have this alertness and energy to you, and it keeps you up, and especially if you're in the morning and waking up all groggy. But a big thing I will say about drinking caffeine or drinking especially coffee is that drinking on an empty stomach is a lot more different than and more dangerous than drinking with some food, some nutrients, some fats, some carbs, some proteins. Having a nutrient dense meal with your food is going to, or with your beverages, is going to really help with the digestion process of the caffeine, and it's not going to give you that big spike and that big crash that you're used to when you consume too much caffeine. And people have different reactions to caffeine, but I don't really personally feel a crash. It's more of a my heart kind of races. I feel this pain, like it's tightening in my chest. It's just very body focused, and I don't really like it. It makes me feel tighter when I want to feel looser and loosen up. So that's why I like being able to have some food and then being able to get the benefits of the caffeine while my body is also digesting all this food, so I'm already, insulin spiked, ready to digest and rest. Versus when my body is totally cortisol in the morning, and you drink black coffee, then you're just going to be off the walls, and your body's going to be even more stressed out.
Yeah.
So what is your take on your routine? I know you have a couple different energy drinks with different levels of caffeination, and there's some things in there that are meant to balance out the caffeine, and then there's also things in there that are meant to help with bodybuilding benefits and muscle growth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, energy drinks are the way I usually go for caffeine. And caffeine's really been shown just to be a more effective fat burner, really, at the end of the day. But of course, the zero sugar is the main stick to it point. Like it's a treat that I can have that will not affect my diet in any bad way, as far as we know. And things have been fine for quite a while. So what I'll do is really just have those as a treat, and occasionally I'll have something like a coffee or a tea. Like I've made some stinging nettle tea before, along with some
Classic.
holy basil. So it really just depends on the herb, and you can make any herbal tea, truly. But I usually, of course, in the mornings prefer to have some quality fats and then perhaps some protein, but I prioritize it with fats. Things like eggs, for example. Great. I mean, that's why it's one of the biggest, most popular breakfast foods. But having that with something like caffeine or something later will allow me to feel a little bit more light, as you're saying, versus carbs. And of course, if it's from a good carb source like a fruit, that's no worries. But when it comes to a lot of the different carbs you can go for, like rice or something, for example, that can kind of make me feel a little too tired. But it does depend, especially on your gut health,
Mm-hmm.
how quickly you actually metabolize caffeine and whatnot. But those
There's a
are,
lot of different
yeah,
caffeine sources for those drinks too. It's like they sometimes use green coffee beans, sometimes it's guarana seed extract. Like there's different sources of caffeine, and then
yeah,
sometimes it's just mysterious caffeine that is probably derived in a lab.